using the facade of extreme wealth to attract investors who wanted access to his exclusive world. The parties at their penthouse were essentially recruitment events. Richard would casually mention his latest opportunity to guests, making it seem like an exclusive invitation rather than a sales pitch. Emma played her part perfectly, charming potential investors with stories about their jet-setting lifestyle and Richard's business genius. At one particularly revealing party, I overheard Richard talking to a group of potential investors about a ground-floor opportunity in what he called algorithmic cryptocurrency arbitrage. "The returns are extraordinary," he said, swirling an expensive whiskey, "but I can only take on sophisticated investors who understand discretion. The strategy only works if we keep the investor pool small and exclusive." One of the listeners, a retired CEO named William Bradford, seemed interested but cautious. "What kind of returns are we talking about?" "Our worst quarter last year was 18%, Richard replied smoothly. "But I have to warn you, once you see these kinds of numbers, it's hard to go back to traditional investments." I was recording everything, but what struck me most was how believable Richard was. He didn't sound like a scammer, he sounded like a visionary sharing insider knowledge with friends. Emma was even more convincing because she genuinely believed everything she was saying. When she told people about their lifestyle, about Richard's success, about their bright future together, she wasn't lying, she was just repeating lies she'd been told. The saddest part was watching her cut ties with anyone who expressed skepticism. When her college roommate questioned why Richard's fund wasn't more widely known, Emma stopped taking her calls. When our cousin asked pointed questions about the business model at a family gathering, Emma disinvited her from future events. Emma was systematically isolating herself from anyone who might help her see the truth. The FBI's investigation was proceeding carefully. They were building cases not just against Richard, but against a network of similar operators across the country. Agent Morrison explained that these schemes often work together, referring investors between them and sharing strategies. "Your brother-in-law is part of what we're calling a Ponzi network," she told me during one of our regular briefings. "When one scheme gets too risky, they'll refer investors to another operator in the network, keeping the money flowing while spreading the legal risk." They showed me evidence of Richard's connections to at least 4 other suspected Ponzi operators in different states. The scope was staggering, potentially billions in fraudulent investments across dozens of schemes. "How much money has Richard actually stolen?" I asked. "We estimate Pinnacle alone has taken in about $400 million over the past 3 years, Agent Chen replied. "But only about $50 million of that actually exists. The rest has been paid out to earlier investors or spent on lifestyle expenses." The math was sobering. If the scheme collapsed today, investors would recover maybe 12 cents on every dollar they'd invested. "What about Emma? Will she face charges?" "That depends on what we find," Agent Morrison said. "If she's genuinely unaware of the fraud, she's as much a victim as the investors. But if we find evidence she knowingly participated..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. The breakthrough came during Emma and Richard's 6-month anniversary party. It was held at their penthouse with about 50 of their closest friends, most of whom were major investors in Pinnacle. Richard had been drinking more than usual, and as the evening progressed, he became increasingly careless in his conversations. I was talking to a group near the bar when I heard him on the phone in his study, the door slightly ajar. No, we can't liquidate the Denver accounts